Hello there, my Gummy Knights, and welcome back to the Echo Chamber. Now, I think when it comes to the meme of the idea of the final boss, that it has been overplayed somewhat and it has been overused, but there comes a time when you have to apply it in a specific case, and I believe that we have a pitch-perfect example of what that case actually looks like. Because when you usually utilize the final boss meme, it is a representation of somebody who's reached the pinnacle of their craft. No matter what that craft may be, no matter what that technique that they utilize or things of that nature, whatever makes them special when it comes to what they are engaged in, they've reached the absolute peak of it. Now, you've had people like Low Takes, you've had people like Ty Learn, but when it comes to downright disingenuous, the literal definition, like if you pulled up the definition of disingenuous inside of a dictionary, you would see a picture of this guy. He is the final boss. And I'm talking about this astronomical, dumb, ignorant motherfucker. This person does not deserve any credit whatsoever. He is not even a credit to the species of humanity at this point, because he is so ridiculously disingenuous when it comes to any sort of argumentation he makes that he debunks himself not only several times in this video, but he will use the same type of fallacious reasoning he wants to dismiss for another character that he thinks is fallacious when utilizing it for them, but will utilize that same reasoning for himself and then try to pretend as though he's comprehensively intelligent in any conceivable way. We are talking about Rouga Rabid, or whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce that stupid ass name, and I don't really care. He does not deserve any of my respect, and I cannot sugarcoat that enough when I say this. We're going to be getting into his video of 6 characters that can defeat Goku, but trust me when I say this video ain't it. This dude is utterly pathetic, and not only does he get several of the series wrong in regards to information about them and to his reasoning as to why they can beat Goku, but he clearly knows nothing about Dragon Ball, nor how Dragon Ball works, nor the system of Dragon Ball, because he makes several arguments that shows that he is a layman, and the closest thing to Dragon Ball he's ever done is maybe he's watched episode 1 and maybe looked on a Wikipedia page. That's the best that I can do for him. And when I say he's watched episode 1, I mean the first episode of Dragon Ball, not actual Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball GT, not Dragon Ball Super, not Dragon Ball Heroes. Not in any type of sort of way can he ever be proof positive as to have watched or even engaged in, read any of the manga, read any of the guidebooks. He has done none of that. He is a disingenuous, cherry-picking piece of garbage. But we're going to get into his video because this preamble has been long enough, and as in our usual style, point by point, debunk everything this guy pretty much has to say. Anyway, without further ado, let's go on and get into it.
Bring on the humbling of Dragon Ball fans and let's get this shit started.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
People been on my channel for a while knows that I think the Dragon Ball community vastly overestimate the power of its series to an extreme extent. I think that basically every aspect of its characters, from speed to strength to hacksy abilities, is all based on mistranslations, exaggerations, taking statements incredibly literally when they clearly are meant to be taken literally, and just generally really bad story comprehension abilities.
You need to shut the fuck up.
Now, starting with this first little excerpt that he puts inside of his video, my brother, you are the last person to talk about anyone's level of reading comprehension. I mean, you are completely a layman and completely illiterate when it comes to actual comprehension of anything that you possibly can ever read. I mean, this is going to be even more proof positive once we get to the ending of his video, and for the last character, he's the last person to be talking about anyone who's taking something out of context or just taking it off the word of mouth or just looking at something and over-exaggerating it. Because my brother in humanity, please, we're going to get more into the video, but my brother, please, he is the last person. Keep in mind, this is going to be the start train of when he does something that I like to call never showcase proof. He never substantiates literally anything. He is the one person who, when they say nonsense like this, will literally never put it on screen. Not even scans that you can try to debunk. He just says a bunch of claims, he makes a bunch of assertions, and will proceed to back none of them up. And it's absolutely ridiculous. But let's go on.
Talked about this at length. I'm not going to go into super hardcore detail, but I'll just give you a couple of examples before we move on to actually talking about who would kick this dude's ass. One is people say that Goku could shake the infinite void, and because the infinite void is in fact infinite, that means he has unlimited strength. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to shake an unlimited amount of space. This is a mistranslation.
You're a liar.
Reality, it was never called the infinite void, it was called the eternal void because it is a timeless place that has existed before the existence of time. We
You slimy scumbag liar.
never actually find out the size of the void, so the fact that Goku can shake it doesn't really mean anything. I mean,
Wrong!
Oh my god, for the umpteenth time, this is not a mistranslation. These people don't understand how kanji and translations are actually applied when it comes to separation between languages. These people are not linguistics themselves and will just go off of baseless arguments. This is an argument that is pretty much almost a decade old at this point, and it is still being utilized by laymen today. Like I said, this guy just looked on the wiki. Because keep in mind, the wiki, when it comes to Dragon Ball fandom wiki, are the only places that actually still have this and try to correct it as a mistranslation, not understanding understanding that when it comes to eternity, it has multiple set definitions. In fact, Rouga himself will point out the idea that you can't really base your entirety of scaling off of this because of translation errors that could happen when it comes to misinterpretations of things like that. But yeah, like I said in the preamble, this dude will try to take in criticisms against Dragon Ball and apply fallacious argumentation against Dragon Ball that he will then use himself to try to upscale other characters. In this case, he's using it to downplay Dragon Ball and saying that, oh, well, you see, eternity is a measurement unit of time, even if you just want to hold eternity as a unit of measurement directly for time. But that's not actually what it means, because it says, literally by definition, infinite. So it's not a mistranslation. When they say the infinite world of void, it is still an infinite world of void that is filled without time and space. It has no meaning of time and space because it actually transcends it. I mean, for crying out loud, anybody can just Google this. Again, this is what I'm talking about, where he has done no research into actual Dragon Ball. I mean, because the kanji that they're utilizing when it comes to Mu, as in the translation towards Mugen, the idea of it being nothing is absence of nothing, with Gen being without limit or being boundless. The eternal or eternity argument that you'll be using here would still posit towards the idea of infinity. It would still be an infinite expanse, because literally that's applied to the definition. Even if you want to say that it is just endless time or being without time, would still be an infinite expanse because it still has infinity applied to it, since it is without end. That's the whole point of it being infinite nothingness, or even if you want to say eternal nothingness. It is utterly ridiculous, but I mean, it just doesn't really take away from the fact that Goku would have still shuck a realm of eternal infinites, no matter how you want to splice it. The fact that he doesn't go into the other higher metas that we can utilize for Goku, it is utterly ridiculous, and tries to sit there and say that people are presupposing the argument of infinite void as being the only criteria that can scale Goku into the realm of infinity. Then he wants to use it as an application of saying that Goku has infinite strength. Nobody is using it as that application when it comes to that. Goku scales much higher than just some random stage of infinity, especially when it comes to spatial axioms and higher dimensional planes of reality that are all equivalently to being infinite. Scaling above infinity can happen in a fictional series, which is something that this dude doesn't seem to understand, and tries to apply the idea that we can quote-unquote stop fiction, as if we apply any real-world logic or real-world physics towards fiction, it therefore cannot work. And so therefore, because it cannot work in real life, it cannot work in this fiction. This dude will continue to use this argumentation going throughout his video.
Saying that he has infinite strength in a series where you and I and everybody else knows that he just continuously gets stronger and stronger and stronger. He's a character that overcomes all obstacles and will continue to increase in power. Calling that character infinite doesn't make any fucking sense.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Character that continues to increase inside of power, a character that is endlessly able to overcome any obstacle, a character that infinitely gets stronger, is not a character that you can call infinite? Like, I mean, dude, again, he just debunked himself. He might—
Well, are you retarded?
Using the term any means that there is no applied limit. When you say any, he can overcome any obstacle, that would be an application of infinity, meaning that Goku can grow infinitely. So how can you therefore then say that it doesn't make any sense to call him an infinite character? Like, by your own logic, that doesn't make any sense, buddy. Goku, by your own logic, would be infinite, because he can infinitely continue to grow stronger and overcome literally any obstacle according to your own logic. You complete buffoon.
Considering that he's not even the strongest character in his own series, because last we saw Broly beat his ass, so if he's infinite, what the fuck is Broly?
This guy is fucking stupid.
My point is proven. This guy is trying to limit, based off of real-world criteria, what can and cannot be explained when it comes to a character having infinites. First of all, Broly beating Goku would just make him a higher form of infinity. Yes, that can happen in fiction. No, it cannot happen in real life, but it can happen in fiction. There are higher levels of infinity. If a character is 4D, that would mean they would be naturally infinite 3D, which means they'd be a higher axiom of infinity. That's just from a spatial context. There are higher forms that you can go when it comes to axioms. However, just even that alone would mean that a character has superseded a character who is quote-unquote infinite. So even if you want to say that Goku was just universal, therefore he's an infinite three-dimensional character, and Broly is stronger, and you want to just have him be lowballed extremely down to just 4D, yes, that can happen inside of fiction. You complete buffoon and moron. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you trying to play it off as a joke as though it can't be possible that Broly being stronger than Goku wouldn't just make him a higher form of infinity? You complete idiot.
So tons and tons of people saying that Goku has been massively faster than light since basically the start of Dragon Ball Z, which makes absolutely no sense to me because we don't really have a whole lot of things that we can actually measure to find his speed in the entire series. There's like 3 moments that can possibly be measured. He blocks a bunch of bullets in Dragon Ball early on in Dragon Ball Z. He flies across Snake Way. It took him like 2 days, I think, which is calculated around Mach 200 or something. It's
Wrong!
fast, but even that far in the series, he's nowhere near light speed. Then you have Boo traveling across the entire galaxy in an unknown amount of time, which again, it's impressive that he can get there in maybe a lifetime. We don't actually know. There's no timetable. So
数年で何百という星が死の星に変えられてしまいました。
数年で何百という星が死の星に変えられてしまいました。
You slimy scumbag liar!
How do we even properly measure that? Outside of those three things, the only thing that we know is that he keeps getting faster and faster and faster, but there's no way to properly measure this. Like, you just constantly get these statements where characters who could see the characters moving before are now all of a sudden being like, he's so fast, I can't see him move. And this keeps happening like 18 times. So he's clearly getting faster, but to what extent? I don't know, you don't know, nobody fucking knows. But
you're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
So again, this guy only continues to prove my earlier statements to be accurate, that he essentially took a cursory glance at, again, some type of Wikipedia page or some type of fan wiki. Maybe he even looked at battle verses, but he criticizes them later inside of this video, which doesn't make any sense. When it comes to the application of Goku speed, we have a myriad of feats. So I'm just going to kind of like present a bunch of feats on screen as I'm talking about this, because it's just ridiculous that he sits there and tries to be absurd towards the idea that we haven't seen anything that can quote-unquote get Goku to massively faster than light. And then his vague examples don't even actually make sense. They're not actually even a quote-unquote apply towards Goku's speed in the way that he thinks that they are, because he tries to lowball and then low scale them. But it's like, oh, you can only have these possible applications of speed that can even remotely get Goku to faster than light, despite the fact that we have a myriad of examples. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous that this guy has no idea what he's talking about. He's never watched Dragon Ball at all. Like, I can clearly tell he's never watched Dragon Ball, even from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. Just ignoring all of the Dragon Ball, you know, like dodging lasers and things of that nature. Forget about that for a second. Just even at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, I mean, people have used the most common feat of Piccolo, quote-unquote, shooting up towards the moon and destroying it as being at least a sub-relativistic. It's actually much higher than that, I would argue, but at least being a sub-relativistic. And then the fact that the special beam cannon is much faster than that, and then the fact that Goku and them get thousands to hundreds of times faster, millions of times faster when you talk about getting into the end of Z and we're getting into Super. You can just sit there and do some low-tier scaling like this idiot is doing and still get Goku to massively faster than light based off of those. Even if you want to say he's just 1,000 times, that would still be massively faster than light. Any presupposed number that is at least over 1,000 would still grant you that speed. And maybe a lower tier speed of massively faster than light, but it would still grant you over the hurdle that you need to be considered massively faster than light. This dude's a complete moron. He doesn't seem to understand how basic logic functions. And again, it's just ridiculous. Like I said, I'm going to essentially just put the feats up on screen because I don't even need to do any talking on this. The fact that this dude just ignores these blatant feats, doesn't address them, because like when he brings up the boo thing, even if you want to sit there and, you know, measure that by visuals, visually, he destroys essentially an entire galaxy in a matter of seconds on screen visually. Like, we can literally see him do this. Like, that's what Kid Buu is doing. What do you mean we don't have a measurement or unit of time? What do you mean we don't have any way to measure that and try to compare it to Goku's speed? We literally do. I mean, he's destroying it. Even if you want to sit there and use cinematic timing, which again is a lot more abused because they want to be able to show you as a visual trick or visual manipulation to be able to show you what's actually happening. So that way it's not, you know, happening in an instant and you can't see it. Dragon Ball is actually well known for doing this because otherwise you wouldn't see anything. You wouldn't see anything because that's how fast these characters are. You wouldn't be able to comprehend what's going on, which is actually something that we do see in the series where several characters are fighting and normal humans have to react to that fighting and they cannot see, comprehend, nor understand. Even cameras and stuff cannot keep up. This is something that's actually very prevalent in the very Cell arc. So when it comes to Boo's feat there of destroying a galaxy and then potentially even just that alone would make him massively faster than light because we see the galaxies literally disappearing and it didn't take an entire lifetime.
I think that there is plenty of evidence in here that these characters are not as fast as people claim that they are. Like,
Huh?
for instance, in Cell Saga, which is another time where people say that he was clearly massively faster than light at this point in the series. I remember when these fucking episodes were airing, by the way, and people were saying that shit back then. If that was the case, then why did Goku have to teleport Cell all the way to King Kai's place when he was about to blow up and destroy everything? Couldn't
What are you, retarded?
he just take Cell and fly him away from the solar system to blow up? That way he didn't have to sacrifice himself and also murder King Kai? Like, honestly, what is the excuse that he didn't do this? If he was really massively faster than light, it would have taken him less than a minute to get out of the solar system.
Again, this is how you know this guy is a joke, because his whole argument relies on the idea that he has no idea what a solar system is inside of Dragon Ball and just how big it is. Solar systems inside of Dragon Ball are essentially galactic nebulas. Cell was going to explode at any moment and even specifically tells Gohan about the idea of coming into contact with him because of how dangerous it is. Like, we see that after Goku teleports, Cell explodes literally seconds afterwards because of how dangerous it was to touch him. The thing is that even with him being massively faster than light, there was no guarantee that he can get it out in time before Cell exploded. Keep in mind, again, Cell essentially tells Gohan not to touch him because of that very same idea. And as we can see, that is proven when Goku does touch him and teleports him, and then boom shakalaka, uh-oh, he explodes. Any type of sudden movement, especially violent action, even if you don't want to count that because you're like, well, Goku is touching him, Cell does specifically note around the idea of violent action. So Gohan was going to essentially just try to blow Cell up or try to hit Cell and try to do the right thing of getting him out the way to stop from exploding. In other words, that's not going to work. So, again, completely absurd, completely ridiculous. There is no evidence, quote unquote, that makes any sense for Goku to try to sit there and fly him away or fly him out into space. Nonetheless, it got the job done. So, again, and not to mention, even if you want to sit there and ignore all of that, Do you know how fast instant teleportation is? It's instant. So Goku utilizing that instead of quote-unquote moving him with his faster than light speed. Why would he do that if he has something faster? Like, that's the other thing that doesn't make his argument flow. Because instant teleportation is faster because it's instant, you moron. So why would he take the slower option if he wants to get Cell out there faster? Like, what are you talking about? Not to mention, the reason why he ends up killing King Kai is because, as Goku said, it's the only place that he could think of in that moment, because it's the only place he had an immediate lock on when it comes to the energy. It was the best place to take Cell. That's the whole point, because Goku had to lock on the energy and would keep everyone on Earth safe. So,
To be fair, I think at this point, Goku is massively faster than light. There's no real evidence of that. Example I'm gonna give that people super hardcore like to argue is that basically hacks are completely worthless against Dragon Ball Z characters, because as long as they have higher ki than the people they're fighting against, none of that person's hacks will work on them.
That's a fact.
Works for mind control and matter manipulation. It doesn't matter. As long as their ki is higher, they'll win. This is true, but only for hacks that are specifically used via ki. Not
I'm wrong.
all hacks. We see in the series that, for instance, magic does not work this way.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
In the Buu Saga, we see Baba use magic to control Dabura, a character who has considerably more ki than he does. He tries to control Vegeta and it fails, and people like to see it's because Vegeta's ki was higher than Babidi's, but that doesn't explain Dabura. In fact, Babidi explains in that scene why it doesn't affect Vegeta. The way the spell that Babidi uses works is that it goes into the darkness in a person's heart and uses that darkness to turn them. Babidi was able to control Dabura because he was a demon king and he was pure evil. He then used the spell on Vegeta because he believed Vegeta was pure evil, but Vegeta wasn't. This is why he was able to not be controlled. This is also why Babidi didn't even bother trying to use it on Goku, because he knew it wouldn't have worked. Vegeta resisting the mind control is not because he had a higher ki level.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny.
this dude is fundamentally retarded and doesn't seem to understand how anything works. Ki, when it comes to Dragon Ball, there are different types of ki. You have Sho Ki, you have Yu Ki, you have Gen Ki, you have even God Ki, you have Ki that is applied when it comes to magic. Ki is a fundamental conceptualized energy that transcends the bounds of what Dragon Ball makes it because it exists in literally everything. Ki is just fundamentally energy. There may be different styles of energy, but it is just fundamentally energy. If you want to sit there and utilize things like cross verses, you're going to sit there and have to take out any character that can be utilized in the cross verses because not every verse is the same. Keep in mind, I love how he tries to make this argument against Goku saying that, well, the characters I'm going to mention can affect Goku with their hacks. Well, presuppose that some of these characters' hack that he mentions later are going to work in Dragon Ball despite fundamentally working differently than they would in Dragon Ball because they're not the same universe. It's amazing to me. And I'm going to prove that later when he brings up these characters and go back to this point. But the idea is that he doesn't understand how Ki works or how Ki functions. It ultimately is just energy and would be applied in the same application. Dabura, quote unquote, having a higher power level or having a higher Ki level than Babidi doesn't work fundamentally as an argument for you, because keep in mind, Ki, again, works on other fundamental levels, including Ki of the mind. Ki in the mind is also prevalent in being able to resist things like magical hacks, for this instance. It seems that, quote unquote, the mental Ki that Dabura had, even if he has the physical Ki advantage, he doesn't have the mental Ki advantage. But Vegeta had all Ki advantages when it came to this. This is literally something that plays out inside of Dragon Ball when it comes to Ki application all the time. Unless this moron really thinks that 7 billion humans are going to beat Majin Buu just because they gave their Ki to Goku's Spirit Bomb. No, it's almost as if there's an exponential increase that people in Dragon Ball can supersede what they naturally have. Even Vegeta's final explosion supersedes his natural Ki to what he would naturally have in terms of his actual durability, his physicality, and that he can put. This is the same type of application that plays into all Ki. So it's not really a contradiction, or it's not really something that can be measured to try to sit there and utilize when we have so many clear examples showcasing that attacks just blatantly don't work on characters anymore or have a less effect when they have a higher Ki level. So again, he doesn't actually prove the point. He only continues to prove that he's very disingenuous and has no idea what he's talking about.
It means that when you put Goku in a versus battle against literally anybody that doesn't have Ki, they have hacks, but the hacks is not specifically created via Ki, Goku will not have a resistance to it at all.
You are made of stupid.
Again, I've already explained ad nauseum as to why he's wrong and as to why he's stupid and doesn't understand how Ki works. This idea, when it comes to the cross verses, so every series has energy. Every series works fundamentally through energy. There's not a series in fiction that doesn't have some application towards energy, which is what Ki is. Ki in Dragon Ball may work fundamentally different when it comes to this conceptualization of its energy, breaking it down to multiple components that makes it up, but it is still ultimately just energy. Goku's application in other verses would still apply. They would still work, you complete moron. So again, his hacks and his counter hacks do still work even in the cross versus scenario, because the quote unquote energy that somebody is using, whether it be like Superman, for instance, using solar energy, it doesn't actually matter. Ki exists inside of stars inside of Dragon Ball as well, because it's just energy. And keep in mind, furthermore, to address his other points in regards to Goku would have no resistance, even if you took his Ki away or you took his energy away, this would apply to pretty much any character. If you take any of their energy away or whittle them down to where they don't have anything such as a life force left, which would be related to Genki, Ki, or the spirit, if they don't have anything related to a life force left, then yeah, they're all gonna die. Even the characters that this guy mentions on his list, that would still apply. Without their fundamental energies, they would still be losers. If they get tired or they get exhausted, they would be significantly weaker than what they are. The applications of ki enhancement inside of Dragon Ball, or utilizing your ki in fundamental ways to enhance yourself, only goes to enhance your natural abilities that you already have. For somebody like Goku, who was born as a Saiyan, he already has a lot of natural abilities, even before he understood how to manipulate his ki to further increase these abilities or physical attributes, or spiritual attributes, or mental attributes in regards to the components of ki that he would have inside of his body. He still had natural ki and natural energy. That didn't just suddenly go away. It's not like he got ki training and then got ki. No, he always had ki, you morons. He just didn't know how to manipulate it. Why? Because ki, again, is a fundamental energy that exists in everything. He just didn't know how to manipulate it to enhance himself or understand the components that make up his ki. But once he learned that, he was able to enhance himself past his natural durability, and he can also lower that to make his durability weaker if he wants to. This is why, and this guy's gonna try to bring this up later as a counter argument, but this is why, quote unquote, even in things like Dragon Ball Super, when Goku's getting scuffed up by bullets, it's because of that. He's fighting a bunch of normal humans. So he's weakening himself to the point to where he doesn't kill these people on impact. We've seen what happens countless times inside of Dragon Ball, to where if a character is not regulating their strength with their ki, they can do things that would otherwise be, untenable. This is why things like area of effect exist inside of Dragon Ball. Because, let's say I am fighting in my home. Why would I want to blow up my home when I'm just fighting this one guy who I'm trying to get out of my home? So even if I do make an attack that can destroy an entire building or destroy my home, it's not going to actually be able to do that because I'm focusing that energy and controlling my energy to focus it on to a person that I am trying to hit rather than destroy everything. This doesn't mean that my attack is actually weaker than the house. It's much stronger. That's why I can blow it up, but I choose not to let it do that. That's how this works. This is why when Goku is slapping Chi-Chi through a house, because he's not regulating his ki because he was training at high intensities, this is why that happens. But once he regulates his ki, he can walk around, he can touch Chi-Chi, he can even be scuffed by bullets if he chooses to lower himself. Hell, he can even be hurt by things like a rock. Why? Because he's naturally weakening himself to the point to where he can exist in a world that, as Superman would put it, a world made of cardboard. That if he doesn't hold back, he will just go around crushing and destroying everything.
Now, as far as how strong Goku actually is, he's strong. Like I said, I do still think that he has probably massively faster and light speeds. I don't think it really matters that much because everyone on this list has massively faster and light speeds, and there's no evidence that Goku's faster than any of them. But, he's fast. As far as strength, he can blow up a whole lot of space. I don't think he's universal. I don't think there's any evidence he's universal. And
could you run that by me again?
I don't think he's universal. I don't think there's any evidence he's universal. And
that's what I thought you said. Now let me offer this as a rebuttal.
And now you guys understand why I said that this dude was the final boss. Because even worse than people like Ty Learn or Low Takes, this dude legitimately believes, and I would have to just try to argue against that a little bit, but if I am going to take it at face value, this dude legitimately believes that Goku's not even universal. You guys remember, like, back in the day, back before people understood anything about the Dragon Ball cosmology, like when the feats were first happening between the clash between Goku and Beerus, and people were trying to say that that was half and half, that it was Beerus' power plus Goku's power, and if they were going to destroy just quote-unquote a universe, then that would make them multi-galaxy by that point. You guys remember those old tired arguments? You guys remember that? This is where this dude is stuck at. This is why I said he didn't do any research into Dragon Ball whatsoever, and he's being blatantly disingenuous. He again provides no substance towards his argument. He says, I don't think. I don't think is not an argument, dipshit. I don't think doesn't matter. I don't give a shit about your opinion. Where are the facts and evidence that quote-unquote prove Goku is not universal? Because all the evidence, even if you want to lowball to the highest degree, says he's at least universal. Every bit of evidence from just this clash alone would put it at universal. I'm like, did you just blatantly know? Because keep in mind, he doesn't refute it. He doesn't keep and say that's a contradiction. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't even bring it up. He just says, I don't think Goku's universal. Like, buddy, he's way stronger than that. Okay? But, come on. You got the feats right in front of you. You got the feats literally right in front of you, buddy. How do you just ignore this? How? The feats and the statements are right there. How do you ignore that? Bare minimum, you could at least say he's universal. But to sit there and say he's not even that in your opinion, he's not even that? Come on, man. He's fucking with me. He's got to be fucking with us because there's no way you can come to that conclusion.
This is mainly because the universes in Dragon Ball aren't actually universes. Universe 6 and Universe 7 are only separated by space and nothing else. They don't exist on different planes of existence. They aren't on different frequencies. There's no time-space continuum that's separating the two.
You serious?
They're different universes in the same way that Earth and Mars would be different universes. Get into a spaceship that's fast enough, you can travel from Universe 7 to Universe 6, and there'll be literally nothing stopping you. This means The entire Dragon Ball multiverse is just one universe, and they just define each of these pockets of activity as universes, despite the fact that they're very clearly not universes and don't behave in such a way. So,
what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Like, saying this guy is mentally challenged or he doesn't have the mental capacity to be able to understand or comprehend even things at a third grade level would just be kind of insulting to people who are actually suffering from either crippling disease or children who are actually at that level, because this dude needs to be on Are You Smarter Than a Fucking Fifth Grader with his level of intelligence. Like, buddy, tell me you know nothing about Dragon Ball without telling me you know nothing about Dragon Ball. So keep in mind, we have spaces in between spaces of the universe itself. We have infinite dimensional spaces that exist. Even stuff like the highball time chamber, infinite expanding space, separated by a dimensional barrier and wall. In order to break them down, you would have to even do things like use a vice shout in order to be able to scream to break down those dimensional walls. What are you talking about? They're all just one universe. You even have realms on the macrocosm that exist outside of it. Like, nobody, not even Low-Tex and Ty Learn would sit there and say that. Keep in mind, he says if you just get a fast enough ship, we have literally never once seen a ship inside of Dragon Ball that has been able to traverse into a different universe, because it's not possible. The only characters we've seen do that are godly characters who can traverse across realms utilizing their own techniques and abilities. We've literally never seen otherwise. What are you talking about, you absolute moron? Like, this is ridiculous. Hell, even Daima showcases this, that there are separations between the realms. Even Daima showcases the understanding of this, but this dude is like, no, in the big 2025, this doesn't exist. Everything is just one big universe. It's actually kind of pathetic that you are this dumb and that you are this retarded. Like, I don't even understand how we got to this conclusion, how we got to this level of downplay.
First up, in no particular order, we have Ren. I am not going to pronounce that last name, from Persona 5. I know he technically has two names, like he's Ren in the anime, and then in the manga he's Akira. I'm going to go with Ren because Akira is overused in Japanese culture. I'm tired. I mean, it's a cool name. It's a cooler name than Ren, I'll give him that, but it's just, everything's fucking named Akira. Like, can we get something new? Ren's unique, I'm going to go with Ren. It's just... I know there's gonna be a lot of Shin Megami Tensei fans who are like, well, no shit, this is a stupid pick. He's gonna absolutely destroy, but
now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready! I think that comes from a misguided place of taking the Persona games and immediately comparing literally everything that happens there to the Shin Megami games. Man, I got fucking Shin. I'm just gonna call him Shin. I'm not Japanese. I understand the Persona games are a spin-off of the Shin games, but they're more of a spiritual spin-off. The actual rules of the universe are completely different in the two games. Yes, they have the same enemy types with the same names, but those enemy types in Shin Megami Tensei are demons.
A few moments later.
They're personas. They're actual real beings in Shin Megami Tensei, and in Persona, they're metaphysical. They are like kind of physical, especially towards the end when you bring out the real world. But for the most part, they're aspects of a person's personality. They're concepts. They don't really exist in the real world the way the demons do in Shin Megami Tensei. Not the same way. They're similar series, but there's significant differences between the themes and the way the universes work. So
One eternity later.
important because Joker's gonna super fuck up Goku either way.
So that was a fucking lie.
Talk about all the crazy shit Joker can do, like how he can jump into Goku's weird mind, spatial, perceptual reality and just start moving shit around, altering things, and literally rewrite Goku's entire personality, even turning him into a fucking vegetable or straight up murdering him, without Ren even having to try to attempt to fight Goku.
Yes, I love it! He's got nothing!
Alright, so I'm just gonna really just dismiss this via Hitchin's razor, not to mention Goku has literally mastered his mind when it comes to avoiding things like illusions, or even fighting doppelgangers of himself, or mental evasions and mental attacks. I mean, for crying out loud, you didn't want to use the Babidi earlier, but there goes into something else. It's not just that Goku's just pure of heart, and therefore couldn't even be taken, but Goku would also have the same mental resistances. He would not be able just to be taken over, or even have his mind affected in that way. You would have to prove that Joker is that strong. Now,
honestly, he doesn't really need it. All he has to do is use Almighty damage. Why not? Almighty damage completely negates all durability resistances, and automatically hits his target no matter what. Considering that all of Goku's durability and resistances come from his ki and is not just innate within his own self, that—
yes. I have a question. Are you fucking high?
That means that Ren would basically one-shot him and kill him. It would be super fast. Now—
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
I'm just gonna sit here and grant this guy's quote-unquote, how Joker's quote-unquote ability works. Let's say that it could just be an automatic hit, right? It can be something like the domain expansion from Jujutsu Kaisen, right? It can just kind of automatically hit you no matter what. If you want to try to use that as proof positive or presuppose that as a claim for a no-limits fallacy, but again, this guy is going to continue to use this fallacy. He continues to use the no-limits all the time for any of these characters, so using the same fallacious argumentation that, well, they can just hit anything or it can just ignore anything. Forgetting that for a second, let's just go on and grant it that it can hit. That doesn't state anywhere towards the idea of what power is being applied. If he can automatically hit Goku with an attack that's only the level of basic punch from a Olympic level human, well, that doesn't actually matter because he can hit those Goku with those punches all day. They won't even stop him. They won't do anything. Sure, it may be a sure hit effect, as in it will guaranteedly hit him, but it still won't do anything. You have to actually justify why that would be the thing. Saying that Goku would just be weak without his ki doesn't make any sense. Okay, if he lost a component of the ki, that could weaken that component of the ki, but he would still have other components of his ki that would still be applied. And not to mention, even his natural durability would still be effective. You have yet to prove, for all intents and purposes, I can just sit there and dismiss you and argue that, well, Ren is a human, right? So all of his punches would, quote-unquote, only just be normal human level. And therefore, since Goku, even as a little toddler, can tank bullets to the face, it means that Ren can do nothing to hurt him. Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds? Yes, because it's as ridiculous as what you're proposing, that Goku could just be hurt by him with no explanation and with no rhyme or reason. You're just saying that without it, oh, he's weak as hell. It's like, no, we can clearly see that Goku can lower himself to the level that he needs to be whenever he's combating a situation or an opponent. He's not utilizing his ki. Like when Goku's walking around and we see that Bulma drives into him with her car, and the car just gets destroyed on impact. Like Goku doesn't even move or budge an inch. The car gets destroyed on impact. And this is Goku while he's off guard and wouldn't be raising his ki to bolster his defense. He's just kind of standing there and then gets hit by the car and it's completely destroyed. But on the other hand, there are times where Goku's been hit by a rock and it's hurt like hell. Oh no! Yes, that's because of his ki control, you complete big-headed buffoon. So again, I don't want to go over it too much, but this point is completely mute, and he has yet to prove that Joker can actually affect Goku in any significant way.
People are gonna say, well, no, that's not actually true. Goku is that durable, just his flesh is, but... I mean, no, it's not, and this is actually pretty consistent in the series. While it is true that at the very beginning of Dragon Ball, even when he was a baby, he was shot in the head and it just kind of bounced off, it didn't really affect him too much. And it's certainly not a bad amount of durability or anything, but we also see him fall off of a small cliff, hit his head, and fucking get a concussion and amnesia for the rest of his life. He's also shown several times throughout Dragon Ball being shot at with bigger guns, like rifles and shit, and not only is it shown to very clearly be a threat to him, where he has to jump out of the way, dodge, he has to use his staff to deflect all the bullets, he acts within a way throughout the rest of the story as if these bullets could do something to him if they actually hit him and he didn't have his guard up. And in Dragon Ball Super, we actually do see that when he's shot with a rifle and he's not expecting the shot to hit him, he's not using his ki to up his durability. The bullet actually does scuff him and cause a mark on his arm. The way the power system in Dragon Ball works is that they use ki to up all of their physical stats.
How about new?
Like, does this dude even understand what the laws of logic actually are? Does he even know? Does he even know how to apply them? Does he know the 3 laws of logic? I don't think that he does, because he doesn't apply any type of logical consistency whatsoever and continues to contradict himself. It's like, buddy, what are you talking about? So if you move out of the way of an attack when you don't have to be hit by it, therefore you're weaker and it's a threat to you? Oh, because Goku blocks these attacks? I mean, like he blocks bullets with his hands? Oh, but no, it's durability. Yeah, okay. Even though he's not using any ki at that point. Keep in mind, you're not proving that he's actually using any ki, by the way. But him moving out of the way of attacks he doesn't need to get hit by. They're not shown to be a threat to him. He's just moving out of the way because he doesn't need to be hit by them. Like, if I move out of the way of a 5-year-old who comes running and screaming at me, and then he runs past me when he's trying to tackle me, and then I move out of the way, and I dodge him, does that mean that the toddler is a threat to me? Doesn't mean this 5-year-old, this small 2-foot nothing, 80 pounds at most soaking wet child is a threat to me? Is that what that means? Or does it mean that I just don't want to be tackled in any conceivable way by a 5-year-old, even if it would do no damage? Like, this dude is absolutely ridiculous. How do you even come to that conclusion? Oh, because Goku blocked, or he moved out of the way, therefore these things are a threat to him and would hurt him. Like, this dude is an actual moron.
This is why characters can punch so hard and fly and move so fast, and yes, take the hits that they can take. Again, pretty consistent throughout the series. They need the ki in order to be that durable. And almighty damage would completely ignore any durability increases he tries to get with his ki, so yeah, he'd hit him. And again,
That's horseshit!
Again, with these categorization errors, this argumentation doesn't work. This is fallacious argumentation, buddy. No, you can't just say... First his idea was that, oh, it just, kind of ignores durability. And obviously when you say durability, you mean someone's natural durability. You mean their durability, the ability to tank things and things of that nature, and whatever. But then he's gonna sit there and say that, oh, something that can enhance durability to be able to specifically counter things that can counter natural durability, because if you're not durable enough naturally to tank something, well, you would have enhancement. He now says that, well, Joker could just ignore that too. So make up your mind, buddy. Is it that he can just ignore things that are only on your natural durable level, and that he has no resistance against somebody who may utilize enhancements, or that he can ignore all? Either way, it doesn't actually matter, because you haven't proven that he can just, quote-unquote, A, do this towards Goku, and B, even if he could, that the attacks that he would land instantaneously on Goku would be effective in any conceivable level. Like, come on, buddy. This is not that hard. You're just being ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
Next up, we have He-Man from the Master of the Universe series. And yeah, He-Man's gonna fuck this dude up, ladies. Before before you go and look on versus Battle Weekend to see how strong He-Man is, fucking ignore them. They start going into like the Star Seed and how He-Man destroying the Star Seed makes him a multiversal threat. No, that's not. The Star Seed is a little fucking glass artifact that, yes, it did have something to do with the creation of the multiverse, but it showed in the story that literally anyone could break it. It could be smashed on the ground by anybody. So the idea that he's gonna get multiversal levels of power because he broke the Star Seed, which is a little glass artifact, is ridiculous. Those people did not read the comics. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. In reality, there's only really one version of He-Man that's actually multiversal, like just straight up, and that would be Master of Eternity He-Man, which I'm not using for this. Normal He-Man is not multiversal. In their normal base forms, there isn't a single character in He-Man who can destroy their entire universe.
Again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, guys, this is your hero, by the way. Anybody who's in his comments defending him or saying that, oh, this is a really great video, I mean, I'm reaching out to all scalers, even if you don't agree with Goku's levels, or even if you think that He-Man or Rin, so far when it comes to the characters that he's mentioned, can actually beat Goku. But this guy is not even utilizing your scaling. I'm not even trying to make an appeal here, despite the fact that that's what it sounds like. I'm not really trying to make an appeal out to you guys, but I'm just kind of like trying to address it towards the idea like, hey, this guy just blatantly is over here doing some serious levels of wonky scaling and downplay.
I can do that as the power inside of Castle Grayskull. So yeah, just erase versus Battle Weekend from your mind. They don't know. Having said that, He-Man's still gonna kick Goku's fucking ass because he's better in like every way.
Stop that nigga dick, bro. What is you doing?
In terms of strength, He-Man is as strong as a fictional character can be. Whether it can or can't be lifted and broken, He-Man can lift or break it with his strength. His strength defies physics or what is possible.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
I'm sorry, to kind of address something a little bit earlier that I mentioned, about the whole battle versus wiki. Like I'm saying, he wants to use them when it's convenient for him to use them, especially when it comes to quote-unquote downplaying Dragon Ball, but then hates on them when it comes to He-Man, but then still low scales He-Man on the basis that he's actually using a lower tier version of their scale and saying that He-Man doesn't even get up to Universal, but somehow it's still going to be Goku. And then he's like, when it comes to fictional characters, and this is what makes it so hilarious, that when it comes to fictional characters, He-Man is as strong as a fictional character can be, but he's not even Universal. Despite the fact that later in this video, he's going to point out characters that are quote-unquote universal. So therefore, by definition, they would be stronger than He-Man. But He-Man is also the quote-unquote strongest that a fictional character can be.
That don't make no sense.
For crying out loud. Even when you look at his own comment section, I'm gonna let you guys do that. I mean, I can put up a few comments here, and, I'm gonna go ahead and put up just a little bit of comments of people who are just blatantly debunking him, and that he doesn't even properly quote-unquote address them. And even further goes on to lie in his own comment section about his own video. But it's like, I feel like I'm being a bully. And at the same time, I can't really say that I give a fuck, because if you're gonna sit here with thousands of subscribers and try to sell this nonsense to people, I'm gonna have to destroy you. I have to be a soldier and stand on business and destroy you. Because no, buddy, no. Just stop it. Just stop.
Stop it. Get some help.
Lifted up Castle Grayskull and chucked it into space, despite the fact that Castle Grayskull houses an infinite multiverse inside of it, and yes, it is absolutely 100% confirmed that it has the weight of that multiverse. The only reason why it doesn't destroy fucking Eternia is because of bullshit magic and the fact that Eternia is the center of the multiverse.
I'm sorry, among the myriad of things that is wrong with this statement, are you talking about Master of the Universe He-Man, or are we still on normal He-Man? Because you said yourself in your own video that He-Man is nowhere near universal, that he cannot destroy, quote-unquote, his own universe. But yet, when it comes to his lifting strength and his ability to chuck multiverses, because I mean, again, I'm granting him this. I'm granting his own scale because it actually doesn't matter. Even if you want to sit there and say that, this is a blatant contradiction, my guy. Do you not understand that? So is He-Man multiversal, is he not? If regular He-Man was able to chuck Castle Grayskull and it actually has the weight of a multiverse. Anyway, if it has the weight of a multiverse to it, then by logic, that would make, at least in terms of lifting strength, that he would be multiversal. So on some aspect, He-Man is multiversal. But you said he's not even universal. So which is it? Make up your mind, man. Is he or is he not? Like, this is absurd.
Thor once made a magically imbued cage that made it completely unbreakable, and it was stated by several characters before He-Man was locked in the cage to be not breakable, and He-Man just like bent the bars and walked out of it.
How many more times are we going to see him be logically inconsistent with how to make a proper argument? I mean, for crying out loud. Now we're using the bandwagon fallacy. Oh, well, a bunch of people just believe in this, so therefore it just must be true. A bunch of people believe in this. Despite the fact that He-Man himself is contradicting you right now with the idea that it is not unbreakable. You would have to presuppose the idea. This can almost even run into the anecdotal fallacy when it comes to these characters, because it's just based around their own personal expressions or experiences. But, again, He-Man proving them wrong isn't necessarily fallacious. It's the idea that this guy is using fallacious argumentation, specifically around the bandwagon idea. That he's just hopping on there because, well, a bunch of characters say it. They don't actually prove, or at least he doesn't prove that they prove, in context, the idea that this thing is unbreakable, that it cannot be broken, and therefore, by all means, him breaking it is an immeasurable or infinite feat. I mean, for crying out loud, man. If He-Man just comes up there and destroys you, like, how do you destroy yourself mid-sentence? By pointing out that He-Man destroys it. Like, what are we talking about here?
Very consistent that He-Man can literally do anything. He broke the concept of destiny with his bare hands. He just snapped it. He just picked it up and he just snapped it. Like you and me would snap a fucking pencil. That's what he did to the concept of destiny.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Buddy, how do you not understand that that is completely irrelevant to anything related to He-Man's strength? Like, it's completely unquantifiable and doesn't mean anything. It's like when we discuss the idea of what place is and when not having the concept of place means. Like, it doesn't mean anything, buddy. Snapping the concept of destiny in half. Like, so destiny and what it actually means is in regards to, like, predetermination and a person's life and how it determines its course and how they're going to move forward, how fate may interact onto them. Like, that doesn't really mean anything. Like, characters defy destiny all the time. This is something that even the most common of weakest characters can actually do. It's not something that's effective in a versus battle. Like, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, especially when you're talking about Platonistic concepts that don't have any abstractional value. They don't have a higher value statement other than what they can be applied to when it comes to subjectivity. Even if you want to try to sit there and branch it into higher forms, try to say that, well, somebody might be destined to destroy the world. It's like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean destroy the world? There are many ways you can destroy the world. That subjectivity is what stops it from being something meaningful. Like, it derives meaning from its own context and not the context that you want to put it at. Again, with these people trying to look at, oh, well, you hear the concept of this, automatically we're going to try to think, oh, it must be in an abstract way, therefore trying to accelerate it past dimensionality, which it doesn't work like that, because some of these things are just things that are conceptual, but only on a subjective level. They're not really conceptual in their truest nature. They just exist, but they exist in a fundamentally different way from an abstract concept like time that governs the fundamentals of creation. Something like that would be a lot different than just saying your destiny or destiny in general, because in its simplest terms, it's just a guiding force. That's it. So He-Man snapping that in half, granting that to you, doesn't really mean anything.
No, none of this stuff makes him multiversal. It's just known that he is as strong as he needs to be in order to do whatever he needs to do. Like,
and why did you bring it up, you fucking idiot? That's a blatant red herring. What is the relevance in terms of this information and requiring to your point about his power? Why bring it up? If none of it's going to scale him anywhere that would be meaningful to your scale of his power, then why the fuck did you bring it up? That doesn't make any sense. You complete barbaric buffoon. I don't understand this.
Also considerably more experienced and skilled at fighting than Goku is. Like, Goku, what is he? He's like in his 30s. Is he hit 40 yet? I don't know. Experience doesn't matter that much, but we know how skilled, generally speaking, Goku is. He's very skilled. We get it. But He-Man has the experience and fighting skills of every previous person who held the power of He-Man, which goes back thousands and thousands of years. And
Goku's training under King Kai was equivalent to thousands of years worth of training. So, how does that prove that He-Man is more skilled?
There's really no comparison to be made between him and Goku. He-Man is more skilled, he's stronger, they're both massively faster than light, and He-Man has also been shown to resist and honestly just completely ignore any kind of magical attack or haxy ability on his person. He's been able to resist complete existence erasure, having his literal matter and atoms destroyed, having his soul ripped out, having been turned into another creature via transmutation, etc., etc., etc. There's really not a whole lot of evidence that Goku's ki blasts, which do destroy matter, would even do anything to He-Man if they actually hit him.
You fucking...
And even if they could, He-Man's sword is capable of deflecting and shooting back literally any type of attack, magical or physical, that comes his way, which means that every single ki attack that Goku fires is just going to be turned right back on him.
Again, this is just another blatant use of the no limits fallacy. I mean, obviously, but at the same time, he doesn't substantiate any of this. He just assumes, even the fact that he himself says that even magic works different in Dragon Ball, but then he wants to try to presuppose the idea that, well, He-Man can just ignore any magical attacks, and therefore he wants to make a categorization error and try to equivalate the fact that ki and magic are now the same thing, and therefore if He-Man can ignore quote-unquote magical attacks, even though the magic in He-Man would be different than the magic in Dragon Ball, but for some reason he just wants to ignore that. But even then, it's like the ki attacks can't affect He-Man because magical attacks can't affect He-Man. Oh, and then also He-Man can just reflect this back. Again, no substantiation, just assertion. He doesn't prove any of that, and he continues to be a literal fallacy walking machine.
He-Man just is limitless power, so there's just no way Goku can ever get to a point where he surpasses him. Ergo, He-Man whoops his ass. Next! We have Nightmare from Soulcalibur. Yeah. Nightmare also knows Inferno is a demon who has the ability that anytime he looks at someone, just like lays his eyes on them, he acquires their exact power level, all of their skills, their knowledge of whatever, and basically just copies anything about them.
So that was a fucking lie.
Only do they copy everything about them perfectly, but they can also integrate that stuff with the stuff they've already copied prior to improve upon their fighting style and make it even better. So the moment that Inferno/Nightmare looks at Goku, not only is he going to bare minimum be just as skilled as Goku is, and as powerful as Goku is, but Goku's fighting style will then be edited with all of the other tens of thousands of fighting style, probably more than that. I mean, the dude is thousands of years old and has been fighting armies of warriors for all that time, so, you know, probably hundreds if not millions of fucking fighters at that point. All of those different fighting styles, experiences, and skills will all be integrated into Goku's fighting style to improve upon it and make it better than Goku's fighting style.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
On top of that, Nightmare has all kinds of different crazy, hacksy, magical abilities. Like, first, at one point, he took on an entire army of dudes, and he just, like, raised his hand, and the souls of an entire army just ripped out of their body and went into him. Which, again, because it's magic, and Goku can't resist magic, he
Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
only resists key abilities. He has no resistance to this. This means that Nightmare from Soulcalibur would whoop the fucking ass of Goku. As hard as it is to believe, it's true. And
You're a stupid man! A stupid, stupid man!
I'm legitimately not even going to spend too much time on Nightmare because this dude has no idea what Soulcalibur is and how it works or how the game functions. No, I mean, in regards to the Soul Edge and how Nightmare derives his powers, things like manipulating souls or controlling people's minds, when it comes to quote-unquote abilities that he can copy and possess, this is simply not true. He cannot just copy your abilities, he cannot just sit there and possess your abilities towards the idea of improving upon them, making them his own abilities. What Nightmare can do to the Soul Edge is any other previous wielder, he can have immense power and control over that ability and set of skills that they have had. I mean, for crying out loud, several characters are able to overcome Nightmare despite the fact that he can copy their abilities and overcome them with his own skill and abilities. I mean, characters like Siegfried and stuff like that, but this doesn't actually prove positive that he can utilize any of these builds against Goku, and then him just simply saying that Goku doesn't have any hacks and resistance against magic is again just a blatant utter lie. Again, he's presupposing that magic in Soulcalibur works the same way it does in Dragon Ball, and even if you want to sit there and say that Soulcalibur has a higher tier of magic, you would have to substantiate that and improve it, therefore saying that his magic is able to affect Goku in any conceivable way, when we know for a fact that it wouldn't be. So Nightmare has no abilities that would be able to affect Goku, especially because a lot of Nightmare's abilities derive from the idea or from the notion that it is evil intent or evil wielding and things of that nature in regards to him possessing the Soul Edge. So he has no idea about Soulcalibur, he has no idea about Nightmare, and he's blatantly lying. But we can move on. So
we have Jackie Estacado from the darkness. So after the years of going on, he's mastered his powers, he's basically just become a god. It's gotten to the point where he can do almost anything. Like, he can create whatever he wants, he can alter whatever he wants. If he wanted to fill up the entire universe with just an army of, like, big-ass demons, like, shoulder to shoulder, no space in between, every single square inch of the universe just filled up with monsters to then attack Goku, he can do that. There's literally no limit of what he can make and what he can manipulate. You also can't really kill him, like, even if you erase him from existence, as long as darkness exists somewhere, because he is darkness. It's not like he controls darkness, he is darkness. Anywhere where darkness exists, he's aware of what's happening there. He is essentially omniscient in that way. You destroy his body, you're just destroying one little part of him, and the darkness all around you is also him. Goku could literally destroy the entire universe and leave nothing, and the only thing that would be there is Jackie Estacado as the darkness, because nothing and the darkness are one and the same. It's a whole thing.
Manipulating darkness and quote-unquote being aware of darkness are not the same thing whatsoever. Like, come on, man. How do you even come to that conclusion? So what is it? Can Jack manipulate all things that are darkness? Or is he aware of the darkness? Because if Goku destroys him into complete non-existence, including destroying his existence on a fundamental level that would erase him from even the story, because things like Hakai is narrative erasure, how in the world would he be able to avoid that? Even if he's aware of dark things existing, it doesn't actually do anything for his character in way of his power actually being able for him to compete with Goku, because awareness doesn't mean anything, ultimately. Like, if Goku were to just completely annihilate existence, which by the way, this guy tries to presuppose the idea that he can't already, but he's trying to grant to him now, which I say you can never grant it to Goku in good faith, because you have things like the Xeno feat, which Goku can indeed replicate. I mean, that would be even including darkness. I mean, he could just literally turn it into an empty void. So what would Jack even have to come back from that? Now he's going to try to suggest the idea that he can come back from the shadows of Goku's body or the shadows inside of Goku's body, but
very early in his career, Jackie was kidnapped and locked in a room where magic was used to eliminate all darkness from the area. The whole room, there wasn't a single dark spot anywhere, which shouldn't normally be possible. Like, even if you're just standing there, underneath your foot is going to be darkness, right? You can't eliminate all the dark, but they did it. There's no darkness in this room. You know what he did? He manipulated the darkness inside of their bones, because there's darkness inside of people's bodies, and he fucking killed them with the darkness in their bones. Dude's fucking creative, man. What the hell is Goku gonna do if Jackie starts manipulating the darkness inside his bones to kill him from the inside?
Where's the proof?
Literally never prove or substantiate this claim, again, as he does with most of his claims. So I'm just going to dismiss it, because again, he never proves that Jack can actually do something like this towards Goku, nor that he can really do it at all in any conceivable way, especially when he contradicts himself on the nature of Jack's powers, of whether or not he's just aware or can actually manipulate shadows to any degree. These are blatant contradictions that he doesn't actually address, and so therefore they have no standing or meaning in this debate when it comes to actually ascertaining as to what Jack can and can't do against Goku in this fight. If Goku can't just destroy everything, including Jack's whole existence, it would actually be effective against Jack. So again, you would have to prove otherwise.
So we have Dr. Solar from just so many things. God damn, this dude has been passed around more than your mother. I mean,
Weird. Buddy, you're weird.
for people who know who reality is, and just want to, you know, instantly jump to that one fucking image that keeps passing around where they're like, oh, you destroyed your reality, and he's like, no, you created a new reality, I tried to blah, blah, blah. No, I know he's the universe, he can create and destroy realities. No, he can't. This is the shit that I don't like about the fucking scaling community. They take that one image, and they pass it around, and they're like, hey, look at this, he fucking said, they just said he destroyed a reality, so he destroyed a universe, and then he said he created one, and they created it. Yeah, there's, the context is not important. Context is important, okay?
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
What actually happened is that he made a bunch of decisions that fucked up his Earth. So he went back in time billions and billions of years before Earth existed, and then over time guided the recreation of Earth, and then tried to fix all of the issues that eventually came up in his time. So when he got to his time, he had fixed everything. Everything was good. He did not destroy and create a universe. When they said he destroyed his reality and recreated it, that's what they're talking about. This is why I often say I don't take words like world or reality all that seriously, because it can mean a lot of different things, you know? Like if you come and kill my entire family, I could say that you destroyed my world. That doesn't mean you blew up the fucking planet. So again,
thank you again for only proving my earlier point to the idea that he doesn't take certain words and certain criteria seriously when, I mean, come on, buddy. That's only because you just don't comprehend these things, you don't understand them. But, I mean, this is him debunking himself and towards the idea of having this guy scale anywhere. Even if he wants to sit there and say that Dr. Solar didn't recreate his universe, I'm going to sit there and just grant it. That's perfectly fine. You yourself are debunking him. You yourself are literally positing the idea that he is not that strong and would be even remotely comparable to Goku. And even the feat of him, quote-unquote, altering his world or going back in time to sit there and try to fix his world doesn't really scale him anywhere, especially when it comes to being universal. So therefore, he wouldn't even stand up to Goku. I mean, the least this guy can do is say that Goku can destroy a planet or something like that, which will automatically put him outside of the power range of what this guy would be capable of. So it's just utterly absurd and ridiculous that you are debunking your own characters that you are trying to say can defeat Goku. Like, it literally is just that stupid here.
Again, message to scalers. Stop taking one image out of context when you haven't read the fucking comic and just spreading it around and saying, oh, look at this shit. No, didn't happen. Read the issue. It's not that hard to get them. You can get them illegally, online, super easily, on several different websites. It would not be that difficult for you to just read a couple issues. Just make sure you get the context of whatever that shit's going on. Anyway.
Ironic.
Can Dr. Solar beat Goku? Yes, the fuck he can. Are you kidding me? While Dr. Solar is nowhere near universal, just the sheer amount of hacks and bullshit abilities he has is ridiculous. The power that Dr. Solar has is that he controls and manipulates and basically dominates in every way you could possibly think of, literally all forms of energy. And Dr. Solar himself says that if you control all energy, you control all things because all things are energy. Now, does that mean he's universal? No, because he's never shown manipulating energies across all of the universe at the same time or like destroying the universe. That never happens. It's more so that any energy that comes into his general vicinity that he can interact with it any way he wants to. And
even if I were to grant you the idea that he can manipulate energy itself, and if you finally acknowledge that Dragon Ball's key is just energy, it's a fundamental energy inside the universe, it wouldn't actually matter because, again, he's still not beating Goku. Just because he can manipulate energy, I mean, so can Goku. That's the whole point of manipulation of ki and ki control. He manipulates his energy to do different things, just like you're saying that Dr. Solar can do. It's just that Goku can do it at a fundamentally higher level than Dr. Solar can compete with. So again, you would have to prove that Dr. Solar is on that level. You yourself already debunked him even being anywhere near that level. Even being something as akin to planetary, let alone anything like universal, it doesn't actually matter that he can control or manipulate forms of energy to do different things. It literally is irrelevant because Goku can do the same thing just at a higher and better level.
We have Remo Williams for the Destroyer series, and I'm just gonna say right out the gate, this is gonna be blasphemic, but this dude is the greatest martial artist in all of fiction, period. I've never really even seen anyone come close, so that...
All right, I gotta leave, okay?
John, we just started, come on, man.
Listen, there's a lot to see in this life. Not wasting it here.
First book that I didn't read, I forced some gay dude to read it for me.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
First book that I didn't read, I forced some gay dude to read it for me.
There's no way out of this one. You're done.
The reason I say he's the most skilled martial artist in fiction is because of the fighting style that they teach him in the first novel. Now, in the first novel, you just think it's like a normal fighting style. But then eventually it's revealed that it's actually the Sun Source. That's like kind of the American name. There's a Korean name, but I'm fucking whatever. Sanskrit or something, I don't remember. We're just gonna call it the Sun Source. And basically the way it's described is that this fighting style is the sun, and all other forms of violence that could possibly exist are just rays of light that come from the Sun Source. Essentially, this fighting style is the source of all forms of violence, and every other form of violence that can exist is just a lesser version of the Sun Source. And
Okay.
this is shown throughout the series to be true. Characters who do not know the Sun Source straight up cannot fight against characters who do. It's essentially kind of like what scalers talk about when they talk about like higher dimensional beings. And no matter what a lower dimensional being does, they can never overcome a higher dimensional being because a higher dimensional being is infinitely more powerful. Yeah, that's how the Sun Source works. It doesn't
No.
matter how skilled in martial arts you are, you cannot in any way overcome someone who has mastered the Sun Source. It's
Then where's the proof?
Everyone who is a threat to Remo Williams at some point in the series is a master of the Sun Source. They literally have to be. And they actually consider martial arts with the Sun Source in this series is just straight up not martial arts. It's just superpowers. He has superpowers. With the Sun Source, Remo can walk on water. He can heal from basically any injury. He's been able to bring himself back from complete molecular destruction. He can alter his perception of time to the point that time is just straight up not moving.
Oh my god, bro, is dick riding all you do?
No, I'm
like, you literally got that nigga dick in your mouth right now. I see it.
And yes, it is said that he is altering his perception of time, not time itself, but it really just works like time stop. It's just time is just fucking frozen, and he moves freely, and apparently that's him altering his perception of it, but it's just fucking frozen. And
that's not how it works.
That's not how any of this works. Him and somebody else who also has the sun source is capable of doing this, and they can just fight freely in frozen time, but it's just their perception. So I guess a scalar would say that's infinite speed? Nope. You are an idiot! Essentially, if he came face to face with Goku and they got into a fight, any move that Goku could possibly do, whether it be a key attack or whatever, fictional or non-fictional, it would all just be lesser versions of shit that Remo himself can do. If it's possible to do in a fictional martial arts fight, Remo can do it. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it is some form of violence, martial arts, fighting, the sun source can do it, and it can do it better than you can. And
that don't work.
In this case, better than Goku can. If he uses the Kamehameha wave, guess what? Now Remo can use a much better version of the Kamehameha wave. And the Kamehameha wave that Goku used will now be completely ineffective against Remo Williams because it didn't come from the sun source.
Wrong!
This is how this series is fucking written. Remo is faster, stronger, more skilled, more experienced, and Goku literally cannot harm him. He can't give him a paper cut.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now.
It is crazy. However, I will say it's a pretty fucking fun book series. You know, based on what that gay guy told me about it. I didn't read it. And
Go fuck yourself.
they're pretty short. Like I said, the first book is like, I think less than 200 pages, maybe a little over 200 pages, and the words are really big. It's kind of like reading a Goosebumps book, to be honest with you. But, you know, just like way more violent and with lots and lots of sex. You know?
Did you know that if you stop talking, we don't have to hear your annoying ass?
I'm sorry guys, this last part is not even worth mine or anybody else's time. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, the dude literally says, without joking, without kidding, you almost think it was a joke, but then he completely emphasized on the fact that he didn't actually read the book. He had somebody else read it, and then he didn't read it. So anything that he would quote-unquote promote or claim about this book is just to be factually dismissed altogether, because who cares or even knows what this guy is talking about, what this guy is saying. And then the only thing even worth addressing from the commentary that he even gives, from the summary that he got from somebody else, is the idea that this quote-unquote source or whatever is the source of all violence in this universe. Keep in mind, the keyword is in this universe. It's not in Goku's universe. Again, you're making these categorization errors, but you want other people to not do it. This is just so funny to me. How in the world are you going to even remotely come to that conclusion, despite the fact that just being all violence in this guy's world, or all capacity of violence in this guy's world, doesn't mean anything when it comes to Dragon Ball's world? And it's funny to me how he brings up lower dimensional beings and then higher dimensional beings, and he's talking about, this is exactly what scalars are talking about when it comes to it. That was another thing that needed to be addressed besides the stupid solar thing. But, you know, the higher dimensional beings and, ooh, this is higher dimensional, that is higher dimensional, but refuses to actually acknowledge the fact that that argument can be used for somebody like Goku. So, in other words, he's a higher dimensional being. Now, again, I know he doesn't believe this, but he provided no evidence against it. And he can't even take the argument in good faith, not unless he wants to debunk himself even further than what he already has, once again. But here's the thing is, he's provided no evidence to the contrary, and now all we have on our end is the idea that Goku is one of those higher dimensional beings, and quote-unquote, therefore, nothing of a lower tier can affect him. That's the point, you complete moron.
Hey, moron. Fucking moron.
So this is just not even worth getting into. Like I said, easily refuted. This video is utter trash. This guy has no basis to stand on in regards to any level of argumentation. He's an amoebid, he's pathetic, and I'm gonna be honest, this was quite the disappointment, if I do say so myself. I thought that in the big 2025, we were standing on top of this by now. That we could at least say Goku is universal. I mean, come on now. We could have at least said that Goku was universal. But no, unfortunately, we can't even get that level with some of these people. When I said disingenuous, it didn't even come close to really what this guy is. He's not operating at the highest capacity. He's not even operating at the lowest capacity when it comes to mental acuity, because he lacks it altogether. Anyway, pretty much that's enough said. There's nothing else to really get into or go into. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.